Welcome back to the Kudlow Report. So, government shutdown or not? That is the question. Our distinguished next guest was the first Republican to publicly say a government shutdown should be on the table when it comes to the upcoming debt ceiling fight. But is that wise? We are pleased to welcome back Pennsylvania Republican Senator Pat Toomey. Senator Toomey, as always, good to see you. Firstly, can you clarify your thought that government shutdown should be on the table?
Well, sure, Larry. First of all, thanks for having me. And let me be very clear. I certainly hope we don't have even a partial temporary government shutdown, because if you do, it's disruptive. It is not optimal. It is really not the right way to run the government. But I will tell you, I think there's one thing that's worse. And what is worse is continuing down this road that we're on, which is going to end in a fiscal catastrophe. I think you know that, Larry. When a government is running deficits of 7, 8, 9% of GDP, when you've accumulated debt that's now 100% of GDP, while the central bank is monetizing most of that debt and keeping interest rates artificially low, this is a terribly dangerous combination, and I think we're living on borrowed time. So I want to start to see meaningful adjustments in the big entitlement programs, some spending discipline that'll get us on the road to a sustainable budget. But I just don't think we should throw the president another credit card without some kind of progress on the real problem that we face.
All right, well, I get that. The couple things that have always bothered me about this, though, you know, if you just do a couple of numbers, I did it with Rick Santelli this morning, and CBO is going to revise these numbers, and the monthly numbers don't always work. You know, they're not smooth. But look, basically per month, we're looking at $250 billion worth of revenues per month. If you take out debt expense, Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security, you have already absorbed, let's see, 65% of those revenues, and I haven't even put in veterans benefits, smaller entitlements, and politically sensitive programs. I mean, to me, that's an unnecessary explosion, and the numbers just don't work.
Well, but Larry, again, you have to compare this to the alternative. The president's saying, just give me an unlimited debt ceiling increase, and no, we're not even going to have a conversation about spending. And remember, this president hasn't been willing to address any kind of meaningful spending reforms except once in the context of the last time we addressed the debt ceiling. I just think it's so important we have to do this. I'm certainly hoping that it doesn't come to actually having some partial government shutdown, a scenario that you described where some bills get paid and some don't. That's not optimal. But Larry, I just think we're on the road to Greece. And I want to get off this road and get onto a sustainable path.
Why not make the rallying cry the spending sequester? Why not make that the absolute central part of the debate? And second, Senator Toomey, John Boehner wants every dollar of debt increase, a dollar cut in spending. Why not insist on those two clear goals, no government shutdown, but force the president, who right now is playing hard to get, force him to deal with that?
Larry, there's no contradiction here. First of all, I think the sequester has to stay in place. I hope we can shuffle it around. I hope we can limit the damages on our defense budget and shift some of the cuts elsewhere, but we have to have the savings. I agree with Speaker Boehner's dollar-for-dollar approach, a dollar in spending cuts for every dollar the debt limit is increased, but the president doesn't. The president is refusing to even have a conversation about it. He's not countering with another proposal. He's saying, I won't even discuss it. And all I'm saying is Republicans can't capitulate to this president insisting on unlimited borrowing authority and no responsibility. So we've got to do something about this.
The Obama-Pelosi $1 trillion tax hike, which has been circulating in recent days, and I'm sure you heard it on the Sunday talk shows, that should be off the table. But you know, the debt ceiling increase was mandated last year with a sequester that never happened. That was last year. We got to do another one. No. It seems to me if you want to raise it again, you got to have another $1 trillion worth of spending cuts.
That's right.
Because the one we're talking about now was due last year.
That's exactly right. That's been banked. That's done. That was in return for the debt ceiling increase that we gave this president 17 months ago, $2 trillion that he blew through in no time. I agree with you completely. That's why that sequester has to stay in place, and we now have to have a discussion about how we achieve the savings if the president wants any further increase in the debt limit. I would suggest that the way to do it is reforming one or more of the big entitlement programs. That's where we're going to really get on a sustainable path. But you're absolutely right. We can't count the existing sequester, which was put in place because of the last debt ceiling increase. We can't count that twice.
All right, sounds great. Senator Pat Toomey, thank you very much for walking through that. We appreciate it. Now, joining us